Hi, this is how myself and Shakespeare got cancelled recently. This is how the cancer of cancel culture works in reality and is getting worse. So I've been a writer for many years, plays, films, TV, books, poetry, and I've also lectured and taught a lot. When I started, there was still something resembling a culture that had freedom of speech and thought. I had quite a lot of success. Then cancel culture started spreading. I could see it coming, as could others. I refuse to comply with political correctness that seeks to control what is thought, said and done. And I've pushed against it right from the beginning, in education, in the media, and in my work as a writer. And I have been increasingly punished. Freedom of speech and meritocracy are the foundation of a successful society. So this is not just about little me, but about the wider implications that affect us all and our country, Western civilization, our children's lives. So very recently I had a play that a London theatre loved, and the play is called Shakespeare's Gunpowder Plot. Everyone loved it. We spent 18 months organising it, putting a team together, hiring rehearsal space, transport, costumes, props, scripts. I was very excited and I thought, great, this is happening despite the general culture. And ironically, the play is very much about freedom of speech, the state versus the individual, the importance of self-expression. But I was wrong. Someone in the team complained about these YouTube videos to the director, who instantly withdrew. So with people missing, it was too late on, a few weeks before performance, so we had to cancel. 18 months work down the drain, time, energy, money, all for nothing. And now we have to pick up the costs. But here's the thing, no one had the guts to say it to my face. Not a meeting, not a discussion, not even a phone call or email, nothing. The director had a chance to talk to me. I heard him being asked on the phone, and he cowered away from that. Because this is how it works. People who are part of cancel culture are either cowards who cannot face people they're cancelling, or they are hysterical and can only shout and scream. None of them are capable of debate. None of them have courage. None of them should be allowed anywhere near a theatre or a publishing house or a studio or a newsroom, because they are a black hole into which all decent ideas disappear. The barbarians are not at the gates. They are in the theatres and studios and galleries and universities, in the media, hiding from any hint of disagreement, frightened of debate, frightened of speech, frightened of art, frightened of themselves, frightened of life. These people feed on the carcass of a dying culture and are so consumed with self-righteousness they think the corpse is a feast as they share their multiple pronouns and tick their diversity boxes. It's now reached a point where most people don't even know what a good play is, or a good film, or a good book, or a good news report, because if you tube feed the majority with inane rubbish for so long, they will think they're being nourished. This is what cancel culture does. In suppressing free speech and encouraging self-censorship, it stifles debate and questioning of received ideas. And what happens then is language, like thought, shrinks to a single story that's endlessly recycled in an ever-shrinking bubble. Cancel culture demands that people who think outside of the mainstream and outside of political correctness be shut down and destroyed. Whereas it is these very outsider voices who we should be listening to, because they are the only ones thinking and the only ones with the guts to say what they see. The self-appointed censors cancel the person and not the work. If they had brains, they would realise how stupid this is. Imagine you have a cardiac arrest and you need life-saving surgery, but you say to the surgeon, hang on a minute, I need to know your pronouns first and that you aren't Islamophobic or homophobic before you do this operation. Or say the boiler in your house bursts. An emergency plumber arrives, but you say, hey, hold that monkey wrench right there until I find out if you believe in equality of outcome, and you tick these other boxes. Oh, and you must hate Donald Trump. Cancel culture allows only black and white thinking. You think like me or you're wrong. So there's no growth, no learning, no complexity. And that means that all important things in education, race, gender, beliefs, ideologies, laws, cultural practices are never discussed openly and properly. And any tensions within them will polarize, fester, and probably end in either violence or political tyranny. Cancel culture only deals in snap judgments. This means that people lose any sense of complexity or history or critical thinking and the importance of debate. Cancel culture is also the domain of the mob, where individuals or groups attack someone who doesn't run with the herd. Cancel culture destroys creativity. This is the death of the arts and education and the media. Stephen Berkoff, the writer and actor, says we are destroying creativity and human consciousness because we're frightened to offend. And art should sometimes be brutal because brutality is liberating. Artists should be free, like anyone should, to think the impermissible. And in a work of art, you have to explore oppositional voices. If you're writing a book, you have to create different characters. You have to live with these differences. And some of them are outside voices, and it's outsiders who change things. It's outsiders who are often most worth listening to because they take risks in their work and in their thinking. They reveal and explore our deepest fears. They don't bury them in banalities. But we now have a homogenized goo where all the clones inside it think the same. And these cancel culture people bang on about diversity, yet they are the least diverse creatures in the universe. It's as if they've had a woke implant in their heads. They all dine out on the same little diet of platitudes and virtue signalling cliches. There is no thought, no variety at all. Cancel culture creates and deepens divisions. Rather than fostering understanding or dialogue, it often deepens rifts by creating an us versus them mentality. People can become then more entrenched in their views, leading to greater polarization and less willingness to engage with different perspectives. The list of people being cancelled or attempting to be cancelled is growing daily. We know the big names like J.K. Rowling, Graham Linehan, Katie Hopkins, Matt Letizia, Tommy Robinson, Lawrence Fox, Dan Wootton, Douglas Murray, Ricky Gervais, Rowan Atkinson, Elon Musk, Jordan Peterson. It's a long list. Now, when I started, there were great people working in publishing and the arts and the media. You could have fierce conversations. You could say just about anything because there was still a sense of open-mindedness. I loved it. Different kinds of people with different views of the world, and this was reflected in the work. But now, in a cancel culture chokehold, this has dire consequences for us all because everything connects. It's why we live in such a vapid, bland, virtue signalling, self-hating, hand-wringing, diversity at all costs, victim-seeking, shrunken, self-censoring, boring as socks culture that is frightened to say anything provocatively serious or anything provocatively funny. Frightened of saying anything brutal but true, anything challenging, anything that embraces complexity and difference. The arts, most books, most TV and film, university courses, certainly most theatre, mainstream journalism, are a factory that produces dull, politically correct, propagandized rubbish that has turned a generation's brains into jellies. Meetings often now start with a parade of meaningless pronouns, a checkbox to make sure equity and diversity are headlined, and that everyone is singing from a fundamentally left-wing, supposedly liberal song sheet, and that it has to be as boring as hell. Cancel culture people are deeply neurotic and anxious because they fear anyone outside their bubble. They're the enemy and they must be destroyed. They don't realize that they are actually destroying their own humanity and everything that used to nourish civilized society. Maybe I'll start a crowdfunder sometime to try and get my play on somewhere else, delivered and performed by good, open-minded, open-hearted people. If you like this video, do please share and subscribe. I'll be doing some new ones, probably on comedy and sport and Tommy Robinson. Thank you.